e o mundo clama. Mostra-nos o Pai, mostra-nos o Pai.
In these past 8 days, I have been completely wrecked by God here in Brazil. I have encountered and seen the face of God in prostitutes on the street as we handed out pizza and shared the love of the Father, as we sat at a street church and I watched young men and young women sniff on glue as we worshiped God. I encountered God as I sat in the living room here at the Shores of Grace Base, and we worshiped with girls who had been recently rescued off of the streets. And I think for me that was probably the most powerful experience, to sit next to a young woman who was being touched by the love of the Father as we sang "Oh, How He Loves Us," and being able to hold her hand and let her know that there was hope and that there was life for her and that He does have a plan in the future.
It was really just amazing that it wasn't just a church, but this church was a picture of transformation through the love of God, because it used to be a dump, and the pastors there just completely changed the area, just really reached out to the people, and now it's a thriving church of hungry people that want the presence of God. And it was just amazing also to see our team really just get thrown right into the ministry, and to see them jump in and pray for people and ministering to people through translators and just really touching them. It was just so amazing.
We went to the streets to minister to prostitutes. We literally brought Domino's pizza, and we were just sharing the love of God with them, sharing with them that there's hope and there's a future in Jesus. And it was just a really, really powerful time. We talked to two girls that when we asked them, you know, what can we pray for you? They said, can you pray that we'll never come back here again? And these women, one of them was 28 with 5 kids. One of them was 29 with 4 kids. What these women have lived through it's shocking. They're still alive.
And we showed up there, and there was children and couples barely dressed, laying out on mattresses. And these people are so poor that they don't even have normal drugs. They actually have glue inside Coca-Cola bottles, and they're sniffing the glue. So we show up and we set up and we sit down, and Nick pulls out his guitar and he's going for it. He's singing in Portuguese, and I'm watching people sniffing glue in one hand, raising one hand, and they're singing along in a worship song and getting totally high out of their minds. And I'm like, what is going on? This is craziness. And it was so surreal. It was like, I can't even dream something like this. It was just so heartbreaking and so crazy.
One of the things I'll never forget is ministering to the prostitutes in the street. You're ministering to them and praying for them 1 second, and then as soon as you leave, they're up at the side of a man's car discussing business. Just never forget that. All the girls we talked to said they want to get out of the streets, but they don't have any other option, or they don't know what to do to get off the streets. It's heartbreaking to see.
What has impacted me the most was when we went out to the outreach and minister to those kids that had been abused out in the street, living without shelter, living without parents, and that impacted me a lot. It was so shocking. It was something that I had heard about, but I never thought that it would actually happen that way. When I saw those kids, like smelling glue, all of them, and biting, and so sad. That broke my heart.
And the one thing that I learned in this trip that I've kind of known, but it really just hit me, is that God's desire for me and for all of us is that we just maintain at a place of washing people's feet. And that's where He wants us, to just get down into the dirt and wash each other's feet and lift them up to the heavens.
Like, you can't even imagine something like this.
To see them out in the street, risking their lives.
He's put a love in my heart for the people of Brazil.
That's just something that's going to stick with me for the rest of my life.
Transformation through the love of God.
I'm not going back to New York the same. Brazil has my heart. Those young women have my heart.
And He's changed my life.